So the two questions in a way are asking broadly the same thing, which is what is the way forward? How do we deal with serious issues that are still awaiting us? So first of all, I would say that we have to maintain a sustained movement against NEP, NTA, NEET, a sustained movement of university teachers, a sustained movement of students, so including the people called Gen Z, but NEP has to be rolled back. NEP is a document produced from the RSS. If you look at what its aims are to build Hindu Rashtra and to corporatize education, and you can see, by the way, they've shut down schools and so on. That's all part of the game. So the idea is to de-skill the population. The objective of NEP is to de-skill people like you, so that you are left with no option but to go to whoever pays you whatever money. And the NEP says in so many words that we are training students to take 3 to 4 jobs in a lifetime. David Graeber called this bullshit jobs. He actually used this term. So we have to continue the process of ending, and NTA, as you know, is a registered society. It has no accountability. So this whole business of leaks has started with all this. That was what I said in my talk also. So that has to be done. We have to keep up. Secondly, a massive campaign has to be launched to dissolve and reconstitute the Election Commission of India, and to repeal the amendments which have given the Prime Minister complete control over who will be the Chief Election Commissioner. So there was one amendment which did that, which removed the opposition leader from the panel which selects the CEC, and another amendment said that the Chief Election Commissioner is not liable for any criminal action for whatever they do in their official capacity. So these amendments have to be rolled back. The current, because that's what it is, right? That's at the heart of it. If you think about it, the people they were lathi charging and with such ferocity, and as we know, it's not just lathi charge. Would a government do this which feared it would lose an election? This government thinks it will never lose an election again. That is what we saw. This is the generation that's going to vote. Many of them will vote soon. And you do this to them, you're basically saying, elections are done and dusted, they're a thing of the past, we will keep winning elections in these ways, through SIR, through delimitation, through manipulation of EVMs, and through the Election Commission acting as an agent of the BJP. So this kind of mass movement has to be conducted against SIR and delimitation as well. So I would say those are the two. I mean, if you say how should we do it? It may not happen in the same way. It may not happen under the Cockroach Janata Party. It may happen in different ways in different states, different organizations. But this has to be our agenda now. First, the reconstitution of the Election Commission and a recognition of vote chori, and then the rolling back of NEP, NTA, etc.
So I think the question that related to this, the technological driven exam of the NTA NEET exam, in the very first year, Tamil Nadu state went to court by opposing this, centralizing this entire NEET exam of the medical seats. Why? Because even the Federation of All India Medical Sciences, they have been actually reportedly pleading the court to give a direction to decentralize this exam. Because health is a state subject, we should not interfere in this subject. State has its own requirements of the healthcare, their own healthcare facilities. There are certain things here that, because as per the central quota, the state pooling quotas, All India quota, there is no domicile rule that you need not to belong to that state. For example, Telangana, Andhra, we have this presidential order of zonal system. So that the state quota, particularly that zone, seat should go to that zone, scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, OBC quota person. But if the central quota will not recognize it, person can be from anybody. Okay, this is one system is okay, this have been coming for many years. There are non-locals also coming to the state quota and joining in the colleges and all. But what is grave mistake and grave violation is happening is leaking out the paper. Okay, leaking out this paper, now going into the hands of the wrong people. Because people who support the party from the Shaka, they are only will be qualified. Never knows, that's like EVM Jumla, that you can't question the NTA. Why I am not qualified? Because anything may happen, this technology in their hands. There is no transparency. This is what the medical association have been questioning. Medical council has objected. One very, the important point now, that everybody is ignoring. The medical council, the medical, All India Medical Association, AIMS doctors, Federation of the Medical Associations, all of them vocally saying, this is completely do away with the marginal sections from the entering into the education. Now this became a choice. If you want somebody from the category, you will give admission. If you don't want, you will eliminate them. Because once, if they are not qualified, then the seats will be automatically will be converting to others. But that is also not going fairly. The whole point is, the whoever are merit based on the exam, if they are qualified in getting seats, is all right. But the rampant corruption is being involved now. That is the basic question. Second part of this reservation system also, there is a corruption. That is why the entire system, people are asking for decentralize it to the states. And they will do it. They will take the responsibility under the guidance of the Indian Medical Council, Association, who are the expert regulating bodies. But NT is absolutely no. Because in 2016, when JNU entrance exam was taken by this NTA, the 66 people, I am one of the petitioner, and said, JNU has its own vibrant exam system. There is no complaint at all. We have many good systems of this, the reservation system and the backward region system. Many of the systems were there, and everything was destroyed. They have taken away. Today, we do not know whether this exam is transparently going on, if this exam is honestly going on. Nobody knows. We have, beginning in 2016 said this NTA should be scrapped.
Okay, you have answered. I think the question they are asking is long-term consequences. आज निवी थी तो मैं सारा अच्छा चीज बोला, बिना निवी के बोला फिर थोड़ा critically discuss करेंगे. Your question on hunger strike, you know, hunger strikes don't work the way they were conceived by Gandhi, right? We have to think of hunger strikes today from the vantage point of how demagogues approach that. Demagogues feel reassured when they see you suffering. It recenters the absent gravitas. So I think it will be approached completely different. So I'm actually completely opposed to hunger strikes under this regime. It actually adds to the legitimacy and reification of the current regime. Because the more you are suffering, which also means you are taking them very seriously, which also means you are conceding that they will be responsive. See, hunger strike has this idea of conscience, that the person you are sitting against has a conscience and will respond at some point. So Gandhi was such a nice person, he even wrote a letter to Hitler. So you are dealing with a completely different set of standards, different set of ways of thinking here. So hunger strikes are welcome under this regime. A person, I think, did hunger strike for 111 days for Ganga cleaning and he passed away. even passing away, the demagogue will see his victory in the death. Because he is so serious. Because demagogues are narcissists. He will see, I am so serious that somebody is giving up life appealing to me. I think one mistake the opposition parties committed throughout is this whole idea of appealing to the demagogue. ये खराब है, वो खराब है. Modi ji बात नहीं कर रहे इस पे. Modi ji wants that. Modi ji wants more the crisis, more the stature of the demagogue. So demagogues compulsively need a crisis, and they see hunger strike as part of that crisis. So I am complete no to hunger strikes. What was the other question? Misogyny. Misogyny, I don't know. I mean, have we really seen too much of misogyny? Of course, there were some politically gendered, but that's the whole question, that how do you approach this abusive language? Is it solely through its content? That's one way of approaching. There are also those called memes where girls were holding their sanitary pads and said that they're more leak proof than NEET exams. How do you see that? So sexual, being so overt and open about your sexual, whatever is associated with sexuality is also another way of challenging, right? So I think one way, yes, that is an outlier question, that what do you do with gendered language? I mean, all those abuses are also very gendered, right? It's about, some people are saying that we're abusing Modi's mother and all that those are all problematic. Those have to be raised at certain point. But I think the immediate context, I would see abuse and hypersexualize as the language of disengaged mockery. That you don't want to engage with this demagogue with any kind of engagement. The demagogue sees himself at the center. He sees his dignity being restored. He sees his importance coming through. And therefore he will not respond to you. Because he is only evolving in that. He is so happy in that, acha, mere liye mar rahe, mere liye kar rahe. So he will never respond to you. It is only this kind of a disengaged mockery, simple mockery. Because in this mockery, unlike hunger strike, in mockery you are not expecting a response. You are not expecting a reasonable and a sensible. You already made your statement clear that we are not expecting anything from you. It's only through collective pressure that we will make you yield to our demands, not out of your conscience, not out of you being a reasonable person. I think there is that difference. Therefore, in that context, perhaps one has to ground this idea of abuse and hypersexualize. Content of it, certain things that you suggested is an outlier thing. We need to discuss on that. You want to add that? Yes.
I just want to add to that I also see this particular protest space as a space of politicization. There were conversations about these. There were reels criticizing the chudiya. So there was, as far as I could see, there was only this one. I'd forgotten it. There was only this one misogynist reel. Sexualization is not necessarily misogynist. That's an earlier way.
Women are seen as inferior, that because
Then it becomes, so chudiya is definitely, but sexualization as such, where you use terms like pimp and you see that the other interesting thing about this abuse is that the abuse was in Hindi, so it was more uncomfortable.
But for us,
Like I just now said pimp rather than saying the word that they used. So that's also a very strange politics where the earthy language of the people sounds more abusive than saying things in English. So that's actually interesting. But I just wanted to say that, so if you take that chudiya and the dressing Modi as a woman kind of a thing, that was the only image that I remember as being misogynist. If you have any other examples, I would be interested in knowing. But what you actually see is also a space where people are changing. It was not, they didn't come and go out the same people. I think there were conversations. There were, for example, that boy who said, he's sitting at the AISA tent and he's saying, मैं देखने आया कि ये लोग भगवान पे कितनी गाली देते हैं, लेकिन अब मुझे लग रहा है कि ये जो कह रहे हैं सही कह रहे हैं, because their point is not भगवान पे गाली but something else, right? Some other conversation was going on. So I see that space as very dynamic. Nobody left that space the way they were when they entered. I would be very surprised if the chudiya wala thing was repeated, and if it were, it will be challenged. So I think that's also important to note.
Sir, there was a question on violence.
Violence.
So also to address your question, when I went to Jantar Mantar, I was taken aback by how in such a constrained space, bodies were rubbing. There had no space there. But there was never a single girl who complained of an inappropriate touch. That's not a small thing for this nation. This nation where public spaces are hell for women. To have this kind of thing, I think one has to also see language in terms of the practice it is being put to. So simply abstract it, it leads to a different thing. Having said that, one should discuss all of this. Yeah, what was the question?
Violence.
Who can do protest and what kind of solidarities it is going to create?
No, but that was not your question. You said something about humor.
What enabled that?
Human, you said.
Humorous rearticulation of violence.
Humorous rearticulation. Yes, that was your question. Humorous rearticulation of violence. That's a very deep question. That I'm really taken aback by that, because I come from state of Telangana. We were socialized into politics by reading about Maoist struggles. I have seen deaths of human rights activists from very close quarters in and around my family. So state repression and violence is a very big thing. That it really redefined many of our ways of thinking about state and politics. This is something that really is shocking. That, to make mockery of the demagogue is one thing, because there is a distance. To make a mockery of a gunman standing with AK-47 in front of you, with tear gas in front of you, I don't have an explanation. Part of it, what you are alluding to, that it is the social backgrounds. Yes, certain social privilege might come in, but that's not a complete explanation, because there were people who came from very modest backgrounds who were doing this. It was not, the violence, if one can make a social configuration, I don't think they were all from only privileged backgrounds. The Muslim question is, it will be interesting to see how Muslims responded on the spot, those who finally joined. Like the Junaid case is one case, that how did Muslims respond? Did this movement really give them some courage to speak back? But those forms of solidarity on the spot were amazing, right? The way people were distributing water, nobody knew who is coming from where. We were standing there, somebody would handle you about bottle of water. You're standing there, somebody gave me a hand fan. Within 10 minutes, I got do kela koi deka chala gaya. Who are we? This is unheard of in a country that is so prejudiced. Country that, you map every inch of the body. You ऊपर से नीचे पहले देखते हो इंसान को, इसका जात क्या है, इसका रिलीजन क्या है, इसका जेंडर क्या है, कहाँ से है, बिहार से भी है तो गांव से है या शहर से है, शहर में है तो कौन सा लोकेलिटी. This is our natural social. Here people, the way they were standing together, celebratory mode, I think it's a collective irreverence is one thing, and this needs some psychoanalysis. I think some collective subconscious kicking in, that people were so enamored by that space, and that people were not looking at each other. They were looking at something else. It was like something else they were looking. I could see that people were not engaging laterally. They were engaging with something else. And that is some disengage. One has to get into a lot of other stuff. So, I think your question is valid, that did social privileges, I don't think the space would have completely erased all of those spaces. Those would continue, but it did the best we could in this region.
Yeah. Okay, I'm grabbing all the questions that actually came to Ajay.
No.
But what enabled the humorous response, I think the two words we have not used at all, any of us, is social media. And social media is now available to the poorest person. And they will set aside their budget to have some data too. And the humor on social media reels are funny in general. And they're funny all the time. Whether you're doing it as a comedian or whether you're doing it as an ordinary person, people are constantly joking on social media. I think that is what enabled. So it's not at all a privileged position of privilege. In fact, when TikTok was here, it was much more available to working class people. But even without TikTok, it's a very working class phenomenon to make reels, to consume reels, to be funny, to use galis. And using galis actually is also something that young people do on a routine basis when they're not in our presence.
Yeah.
I have a story from a friend who is like he has sons who are in their teens to early 20s. One of the sons who's a very good boy at home, and he's a really polite and nice person. One day the father called and the boy picked up the phone and hadn't seen who was calling. So the way he greeted the person who he thought was his friend was a flood of galis. And this father said, "ये मैं हूँ." उस पे उसने फौरन रख दिया और फिर दोबारा फ़ोन किया. My point is that he was actually trying to say, my friend, that gali is a form of humorous currency. And some of it continues to be misogynist and sexist, because most terms of abuse are, in fact. But what is interesting is that very few of them made their way here to the protest. It's so easy to use the kind of misogynist things, but they didn't. The worst that we saw was the chudis. So I think we cannot underplay what social media has done to connect people and to allow them to be creative and funny on a routine basis. And that obviously showed up in the protest.
And on some occasions, I got confused whether I was thinking whether I'm watching a protest or a movie. Modern day lights or city lights mein, Charlie Chaplin, I saw one incident where a guy gets up, he's dropped on the floor, he gets up and he slaps the police and he runs around the bus and the police wala bhi bhag raha. This I saw in city lights, So we saw Charlie Chaplin. So we never thought this we will see in real time in a protest, what we watched in movies.
They also, if you notice, the young people also romanticized the lathi charge.
Exactly.
There were people saying, "मैं भी लड़की को बचा लेता, मुझ पे लाठी पड़ता." There's another girl who's saying, "I'm getting ready to be lathi charged." So there was a way. It is partly, I really like this phrase, disengaged mockery. Partly it's that, but partly they. It's actually the way Bhagat Singh was. It sounds as if I'm trivializing Bhagat Singh. Bhagat Singh was ready to go to the gallows, and these young people, which also includes many of you, they see it as part of their revolution or their movement, So there was a way in which being lathi charged was seen as a sign of coming of age, of becoming serious. In that one
was experiencing that pain of their parents and their entire the sufferings of their families and all. So the entire this movement, any movement the ruling government used to color. This either we affiliate with some outside country, affiliate with some religious people, but this movement could not give any chance to them, because they could not color it or this is a particular caste movement or the religious movement or any other movement. It has a wide range of issues, and public memory was completely responded to this, because popularly the nature question is there. There's Aravali Hills issue, Manipur issue, okay. In everywhere, the victimized people's the memory was there in the public. I think this is the peak. Anything which goes to peak will collapse. And this Cockroach Janata Party, which only just opened a website, but people registered there. And then the very interesting part is the phone virtual movement converted a physical movement. That in this scale, like close to 2 lakh coming, because when Samim, we are all going to the Jantar Mantar next day, Samim said, "Sir, government miscalculated the entire movement." They don't have idea that this many people are coming. They themselves were criticizing themselves. It's an intelligence failure. Or this much of crowd from which part of the country they have come. And 4-5 days, the trains were running, people could not figure out where they are going. Delhi, some of our students told me, Maharashtra se Ambedkar students have come. JB Army students from Bihar, Uttar Pradesh came. This mobilization was not figured by the state. And that is the whole missing point of this move. Because this mobilization, what was the volume of the mobilization, they could not figure out. I think that is the main important of this movement.
So Nidhi will answer. Okay.
I think it's kind of done, yeah.
So anyone else? Okay. Thank you all professors. It has been always a pleasure to listen you all. We usually talk in our room or sitting on the dhabas that the professors always settles the status quo through their speeches and comments and suggestions. So thank you once again. Thank you for coming and I want to apologize for the Kali Chittibabu sir that we are inviting him first time. We'll pardon sir. We'll improve our mistakes and talk to our organization and make our routine better so that we can call you more often. So thank you all to join and engage in a public meeting conducted by us. Thank you once again.